All right, Piston Vinegar Day 166. Accessories day, traps, neck, calves, abs, forearms, everything's being lumped into this last day on Sunday because I've just been taking days off. I took like 2 days off this week, which, you know, is probably for the best, but we're in the house because my outdoor wire that runs up to the shed that, you know, gives me power up there fucking exploded and almost electrocuted me earlier. So there's no light up there, no power, so I have to do sort of a pseudo workout in the house, and it's fine. This will be sort of a maintenance workout, really, and every fucking workout's a maintenance workout when you're cutting weight anyway, so it's no real biggie. So yeah, I'm just gonna, this is probably gonna be a long fucking workout too, because I'm just lumping everything in, and a lot of the things won't be optimal, but it's all good because it's cutting. So if I was bulking, this would not be okay, but because I'm cutting, I'm just trying to get enough stimulus to make adaptation in the muscle and then maintain that, or maybe gain a little bit in here and there depending on the muscles. So let's get into the workouts. So a lot of the things I'm just going to overdo one set. Like for example, with my shrugs, I'm only going to be able to do dumbbell shrugs because I've just got my dumbbells down here, right? So rather than, you know, normally I do 2 or 3 different exercises to failure for shrugs to get different areas. So today it would just be like, well, I'm going to do a heavy set of standard shrugs for the, you know, upper traps, and then I'll do the Dorian Yates shrugs that I normally do for the middle and lower traps. And so I'll basically be doing 2 sets of dumbbell shrugs, but know that that's because they are serving 2 different purposes, but just warming up. Oh, fuck. All right, now the Dorian Yates stroke, retracting the scapula, getting the mid traps, lower traps, etc. Fuck. Fuck. It's harder to train in your house, man. I just want to go, just lay down on the couch and, I just want to go to bed right now. Actually, it's pretty late. I just want to go to bed. It's much easier now that I have my gym equipment up in the garage, detach yourself away from comfortability. And, that's part of the cool thing of having a gym membership. One of the only cool things about having a gym membership is you can leave every piece of comfort away from the gym. You can get out of home, right? Whereas the closer you are to comfort, the easier it is to just go, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna go sit on the couch and watch a TV show with my girlfriend, or just be a lazy piece of shit. So yeah, that I used to have my gym equipment in my house, and it used to make it that much harder to adhere to things. I mean, part of it was volume training too. Most of it was volume training, but yeah, I'm in my comfort zone right now, so it's a little harder to get in the mindset. Although, in saying that, it is nice having this environment where I can be as loud as I want, I can train as late as I want, whereas in my garage, it's very exposed. You can hear next door neighbors, can hear you, stuff like that. So one day, the ideal would be to have a big, insulated, nice, cozy, home gym up the backyard one day. All right, neck curls. Here we go. Hey, buddy. It's a bit light. I'm going to add some pressure with my arms to make it harder. That's way harder. Oh yeah, that's better. Fuck. I'm just lightly pushing down my arms. Oh, shit. Fuck. Just goes to show, man, with high intensity training, you don't need a hell of a lot of equipment. You don't need a lot of equipment in general, but with the hyper focus of intensity training, the one set to failure, just simply the main philosophy being that you need to take your sets to failure. There's not much you really need to facilitate a good workout, unlike in volume, where there's so many parameters that, with a lot of more parameters involved, oftentimes you have more reliance on equipment and gimmicks of sorts. But like really, I could probably build my physique that I've built and my strength with just dumbbells and in my house. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you're looking to take the muscles to failure and then slowly, progressively overload over time. And how you do that, I mean, obviously, it's more efficient with machines and more equipment because you can get a better mind-muscle connection and efficiently get the work done with a better resistance curve, etc. But like, man, you don't really need that much shit. I wish I had known that when I was younger. When I was 18, I had to work at home for numerous reasons. I didn't have any money, but also even if I did have money, I was stuck in my house due to PTSD and different things. So I would train in my house, but I would just never really get any results. And I knew how to train because I had previously trained in gyms before before becoming a recluse or stuck in my house. But I didn't know how to train as efficiently as I do now with the high intensity training. And had I known that, I would have been a lot better off by now. With such minimal equipment, I could have got a lot done by just simply training to failure, one set to failure training. Like this workout thus far feels no different to what I do in the shed with a bit more equipment. It's basically, most of it is very much the same. There's a few things, calves might be a bit tough, but everything else is going to be relatively smooth sailing, like abs, everything. Calves, calves will be a bit tough, but my calves don't grow anyway. Actually, in saying that, my calves have grown about an inch in the last 6 months, which is not too bad. An inch in 6 months with genetics as bad as mine are, that's not too bad, actually. Oh shit.
man.
The neck extension, but I forgot to bring that down here, and that's all good anyway. The neck extension is not a huge deal. More the front of the neck and the side of the neck is the most important for aesthetics. That's more of it. If anything, the back of the neck is more for athletics, which is great for me because now that I'm doing MMA, getting out of the clinch and just, you know, not getting concussed so easily would be a good idea, but not the end of the world if I can't do that tonight. That's all right. And that manual resistance stuff is excellent. You know, if you don't have any weights and you have a friend or a brother or whoever the fuck, anyone who's willing to train with you, you can just do manual resistance and it's perfect. Like the side of my neck's cooked because think of it like this. With high intensity training, you're only really, the first few reps are pretty pointless anyway. It's not until further in do you start really recruiting motor neurons, right? If you're doing say 8 to 12 reps rather on say a, you know, bench press, it's not until like the last, you know, 3-4 reps you really starting to struggle and make neurological adaptations and make you know, recruit every motor neuron and fiber and make all the mechanical stress you know, happens. My fucking brain's cooked right now, but you understand what I'm saying. Whereas with the mechanical tension, like as I was just doing then, or like the manual tension rather, every rep is like that last grueling rep of, you know, bench press where you like really can't do it and you're like barely gonna make it. Every rep is that. And so every rep you're like recruiting every motor neuron, every fiber, and obviously you need a bit of time and attention. You have to take it to the point where you fail, but like when I'm going like this, right, with a side neck curl, I'm just pushing down just enough that I can still complete the rep, but it's an absolute grinder. And then by the end of it, pushing down on the way up, I wouldn't even be able to lift, even just lifting my hand. I can't even lift my head. So I just kept going until I couldn't even lift my head. And that was when I failed. And I could still do more negatives. If I wanted to, I could have lifted my head up and then pushed down on the negative and kept going. But by the time I can't lift my head, I've pretty much gone to failure. Like that's like my neck's fucking cooked. So, you know, you just keep going until you can't lift your head, basically. And at some point, like, yeah, like you even just having your hand on the side of your neck, you can't lift it. Or if you're doing bicep curls, you just keep going with your own arm resistance. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not as good as a dumbbell, especially with like fucking biceps and shit. Like the resistance curves, you know, having some change in resistance curve is good. Like if you want to get a stretch in the biceps or a peak contraction, like having just constant friction isn't necessarily the best thing. It just doesn't feel that great to me. It might yield just as good results. It's also very difficult to gauge progressive overload when you're doing manual resistance. So like if you're doing biceps and you have someone holding you down, like it feels excellent because every rep is a grinder and every rep's a grinder, and you can like keep going beyond failure, and like you just have that person resist enough that you can curl it, but only just, and then eventually at some point they've got to decide like when are you failing, 8 to 12 reps in, and they really ramp up the tension, or you know, whatever. Kind of rambling here, and there's certain points I want to get across that I can't even conceptualize right now because I'm just too tired, but like in regards to when do you stop, because they can just, with a bicep curl, like if your partner's pushing down, like theoretically they can just keep going infinitely because they can just keep alleviating the pressure so you could still complete that rep. So at a certain point, like 8, 12 reps in, you get enough time and attention, then they artificially make you fail by pushing down hard enough that you're like, oh, fuck, and I can't lift it. Otherwise, you just keep going infinitely. So and that's one of the downsides, and then the other downside is, the main downside is you can't really tell, are you getting progressively stronger, because like there's no actual number there. Like they can't, you know, they're not pushing down a specific number every single time. So it's hard to tell if you're progressive overloading, which isn't necessarily the biggest deal. Like dudes in prison get jacked with this method alone, and like, you know, progressive overload is just a way of monitoring whether or not what you're doing is correct, whether you're adequately rested, whether or not you're eating adequate amount of calories, because if you are, you will be progressively overloading. But if you can't monitor that, like, you know, so long as you generally know you're in a surplus and generally you are gaining strength and size, or at least just size, because you won't really know if you're gaining strength necessarily, although your partner might say, man, you're pushing harder this time, or man, you're pushing much harder than a few months ago. But at the end of the day, like if you don't have any weights, you don't have anything to do, then it's better to do something, right? So in this case, manual resistance, and you just have to eat decent amount of food, make sure you're recovered, and then you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be progressively overloading, whether or not you know it or not. All right, calf raises. So the way I'm going to do this, fucking hell, the main light source is gone. There we go. The way I'm going to do this is manual resistance. Once again, I'm just going to push myself down on the wall throughout the negatives and even positives just to make it that much harder. I'm going to do it one leg at a time. You know, it's very hard to train calves without weights, but it's possible. And like if I really want to go for it extra, I'd push down on the wall, hold onto a weight, but I don't even think I'll need that. I think I'll just do this and that'll really suffice. So here we go. More than anything, it's hurting my feet. I'm gonna put some fucking shoes on. All right. Straight back to it. It's already really hard, man. Just pushing down the wall a little bit. And now I'm basically failing just body weight. I'm just gonna push myself up a little bit and do some force reps well, not yet, but oh shit. Shit. So that right calf is pretty much toast. Straight to the left. That's too easy. So bit of wall resistance. Again, hard to monitor what resistance I'm getting here. Wouldn't be able to standardize this or figure out how much I'm supposed to be progressively overloading, as I just said before, but something's better than nothing. Especially if you're just starting off. Like when you first started off, you're guaranteed to be gaining strength regardless of what you're doing. Calorie deficit, calorie surplus, maintenance, whatever the fuck. Like if you're just a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid in your fucking house right now, you don't have any money for a gym shit, you don't have whatever the fuck it is, like you're just stuck at home and you just can't go out to the gym, you don't have weights or anything, like you can just do shit like this and you will make adaptations. Your body will grow. You will become stronger. I think my left calf is stronger. Oh, fucking cunt. Alright, abs, so sit-ups. Again, not as ideal because with the sit-ups, I usually use the cable. Cable is vastly superior for sit-ups, or cables are just vastly superior to just about anything just because of the resistance curves, but sit-ups especially because you have a plate in your chest, and when I sit all the way up, there's no resistance. When I'm all the way down, no resistance. At the midpoint, decent amount of resistance, but that's about it. Whereas with a cable, there's resistance just about throughout the entire movement except for when you're sitting all the way down. So obviously, again, things aren't totally as ideal, but again, something is 100% better than nothing. it's kind of just too easy. How do I make this harder? Fuck. Give me one of these boys. That's a bit better. Awkward to hold now though. Still a bit easy. Fuck. There's no real way of doing the leg raises because leg raises is just too easy. Body weight ones, I'd be doing 50, 60, 70 fucking reps, even if I slowed them way the fuck down. So, normally I do them with cable resistance. I could do some isometrics, I suppose, or something, but if I'm being absolutely honest, I just don't feel like fucking doing leg raises. I don't feel like doing anything. Again, this is sort of a maintenance workout, and my abs are pretty crushed just from that alone. I can feel that upper, lower, even my obliques from that. That was treacherous. And also at MMA, I've been doing a lot of drilling, a lot of drills that are just so abdominant. Like I'm just, basically contracting my abs for 60 minutes straight. So I'm not too worried about the abs right now. They're constantly getting absolutely thrashed at MMA. And I'm doing that tomorrow, so I don't want my abs to be too dead anyway, because we're always, in MMA, you're always doing drills from your back like this, and it's just fucking treacherous on the fucking abs, man. So, and I don't have a hell of a lot of time left, so I'm just gonna get straight into the forearm workout now. Oh, that's fucking work. So I was gonna try and do some behind the back curls, right? Like the fucking barbell that I do, but that doesn't fucking work. So I'm gonna have to figure a different way out. All right, there's a movement that I saw Devin Lorette doing years ago, and for all intents and purposes, it's still gonna be arm wrestling workout because I do arm wrestling specific movements to hit my forearms, as you know. So I'm just gonna do stuff I've seen arm wrestlers do with dumbbells before, basically. So the first one, probably the first and only one, being this one that Devin does, and I'm just gonna do a bunch of drop sets, rest pauses to get as much stimulus as I can. Oh man, that resistance curve kind of sucks. I'm gonna rest pause that. Also getting rid of the drop set it. This by no means is a good exercise. I don't know why Devin did this one. It just sucks. It's good for the fingers, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's great for arm wrestling perhaps. But as far as like getting the forearms, it doesn't feel all that great. Okay, I drop set it. Shit. Now, if you're thinking about this one, wrist curl this way, those are dog shit, man. Like one of the worst ways to try and get big forearms. Just because one, resistance curve, absolute dog shit. Like there's fuck all wrist movement possible. Not great for the wrist because it's putting a lot of tension through the ulna and the radius. You don't get to develop big meaty hands through it because it's not through the fingers, it's just through the wrist joint. You're much better off training the wrist from resistance curves that go into the fingers rather than into the hand, especially if you want big strong hands or good strong grip, or training for arm wrestling especially, but just in general, like you will get more forearm development from hanging from this angle, or a dumbbell or fat grip going in through this angle. Best way to do that is behind the back, in my opinion. This just allows for such an incredible range of motion, resistance curve, and I don't know, it's something about the biomechanics of having the arms behind the back. And then doing dead hangs, or if you can hold onto a fat grip with a handle like that. I can't do that because of tendonitis. But anyway. I don't particularly suggest this movement. Shit. Man, my camera even in the right angle. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is fine. I can feel it, decent pump, everything, but as far as standardization, this would be such a shit movement to start and standardize, because you're bending over. I'm stabilizing the core, lower back. Anytime you're trying to isolate like a fucking forearm or any muscle really, if you have to do unnecessary stabilization through the core and back, like this is why I don't like barbell rows, because I'm like having to do this, trying to contract my lats, but also keeping my spine neutral and my core engaged. My hamstrings are getting sore and shit. Like, fuck that. I'd rather just sit down and do a cable row and totally isolate my lats. So same thing here. Like, I'm just having to do a lot more extra work when I really just want to be focusing on my forearms. Oh, shit. Shit. You know, it's cool though. I haven't done this movement in a very long time. Not since I kind of started first doing arm wrestling. And when I first started doing arm wrestling, I remember at some point, I'm like, this movement's fucking stupid. And I started doing cable shit instead when I bought a cable machine. So I haven't done this in a long time. Last time I did this, I was doing like 12, 15 kilos. This is now 30 kilos, I think, with a fatter grip too. Like, I used to have smaller handles than this. This is quite thick because these handles are already pretty big, and then the fat grip's going around them. This is a big fat handle. So at least 10 kilos stronger, probably with better form, more range of motion, more reps, and a fatter grip. So it's been able to show me how much stronger I've gotten at arm wrestling specific movements. Since I've done rope pronation, but I guess I'll see. Oh man, now I've got to stand up and do this. That's the other thing about pronation. I don't like having to do the bicep shit because it becomes very bicep dominant, or whatever your bicep can take. So I much prefer doing it this way than like that. Fuck, hold on. I guess I'll do it this way. This is just awkward, dude. Not too bad, I suppose. 12 reps with 27 kilos. Just through the thumb. Full range motion too. I never liked the idea of doing pronation with these like quarter reps. Obviously you can get fucking way more weight. I could probably get 45 kilos if I just did those little quarter reps that you see, and I know that in arm wrestling, the setup is very important, and just your ability to do this is paramount. But you know, I'm only doing one set with this shit, and with arm wrestling, you probably should do more than just one set. You should probably do one set per different movement pattern, like full ROM, quarter ROM. But it's all too fucking much for me in arm wrestling. I love arm wrestling, but it's not that big a deal. Ultimately, I'm doing this with big forearms, and then, you know, if I can wreak havoc on a table, then so be it. But I'm just going to do the full ROM because it's easy to standardize. It's terrible for my ego, which I like that shit. I don't like shit that's good for my ego because it just blows me out of proportion. Okay, good rest pause, and then just a drop set. That's too light a drop set. Oops. What's that? 25 kilos. Fucking hell. Shit is awkward as fuck, man. I much prefer my cool little machine that I made. All right. last movement, forearm or fucking extensions. I normally do this with my hands not strapped, and I know it doesn't seem to make much sense to do this straps because it's like part of it is a grip exercise, but because this bar is so thick, like my grip's going to be the limiting factor, and really you want the limiting factor to be your forearm's ability to extend. So I'm just going to strap these up. Not ideal, but again, today is just not ideal in so many ways. But nothing, I mean, it's always better than nothing. I might even just do this one forearm at a time rather than the two. Yeah, that sucks. That don't feel right. Dude, what the fuck? Hold on, never mind. I'll have to do it with the grip. It just doesn't feel right. The fucking dumbbell, like, I don't know how to explain it, but that doesn't, that feels kind of shit. What the fuck? Hold on, I need to make that lighter and just do higher reps. It just fucking doesn't feel right in so many ways. It's because this handle isn't perfectly round, so you get this like weird like jolt where it because it's squarish. So I don't know, I'm not engineer minded enough to explain the mechanics of it, but it just doesn't feel good. And then that's almost too light. I don't know. Let's see what I can do. Shit. Fuck. That's too light. Gosh. Yeah, see, my grip on this side, you know, flexion was giving out before extension, so it's all good, man. This feels pretty good though, just because of the moment arm. There's like a leverage point. I don't even pretend to know the engineering of it or the mechanics of it. But this feels pretty good. This is how you probably really want to do extension with the forearm. A forearm extension is like have a resistance that's further away from the fulcrum point where you're gripping. I think that's all correct. Oh, shit. All right. That's it. That's my accessories day, all done in the comfort of my home. You can get a good physique from home. With high intensity training, everything's possible. See you guys from One Piece and Vinegar. Bye-bye.